The International Residential Code, or IRC, represents a minimum standard. Local jurisdictions possess the authority to adopt and enforce this code. However, they are also permitted to implement stricter regulations that surpass the IRC baseline requirements. This means that a local code can indeed require less than what is stipulated in the IRC. In the scenario presented, an inspector has indicated that smoke detectors do not need to be interconnected. This decision deviates from the IRC requirement for interconnection when multiple detectors are in use. The rationale behind this discrepancy lies in the potential existence of a local code with less demanding stipulations than the IRC. To ascertain the precise requirements governing smoke detector interconnection, it is imperative to consult with the local building department. They can provide definitive guidance on the applicable regulations in a specific area. Building codes are sets of regulations governing the design, construction, alteration, and maintenance of buildings. They are adopted and enforced by local jurisdictions to ensure the safety and welfare of the public. The International Residential Code is a model code developed by the International Code Council, or IC. It is a comprehensive set of regulations for one- and two-family dwellings and townhouses. Many local jurisdictions adopt the IRC as their building code, but they may also make amendments to it to suit their specific needs and circumstances. One key aspect of building codes is that they typically establish minimum requirements. This means that local jurisdictions can always choose to adopt more stringent requirements, but they cannot adopt requirements that are less stringent than the minimum specified in the code. However, there are some exceptions to this rule. For example, a local jurisdiction may be able to obtain a variance from the code if it can demonstrate that the variance will not compromise public safety. Another exception is when a local jurisdiction adopts a performance-based code. Performance-based codes allow builders to use alternative designs and materials as long as they can demonstrate that the proposed construction will meet the code's performance objectives. In the case of smoke detectors, the IRC requires that they be interconnected so that when one detector sounds, all of the detectors in the house will sound. This is intended to provide early warning to all occupants of the house in the event of a fire. However, some local jurisdictions may not require smoke detectors to be interconnected. This may be because they believe that interconnected smoke detectors are not necessary in all situations, or because they want to give homeowners more flexibility in how they install smoke detectors. If you are planning to build or remodel a house, it is important to check with your local building department to find out what the specific requirements are for smoke detectors in your area. You should also be aware that the requirements may vary depending on the type of dwelling you are building or remodeling. For example, the requirements for smoke detectors in a single-family home may be different than the requirements for smoke detectors in an apartment building. Smoke detectors are critical life-saving devices, and it is important to install them properly and maintain them in good working order. Smoke detectors should be installed on every level of your home, including the basement. They should also be installed inside and outside of each sleeping area. Smoke detectors should be tested monthly to ensure that they are working properly. The batteries in smoke detectors should be replaced at least once a year, or more often if the detector chirps to indicate that the battery is low. Smoke detectors should be replaced every 10 years, or sooner if they are not working properly. Smoke detectors can be either ionization smoke detectors or photoelectric smoke detectors. Ionization smoke detectors are more sensitive to flaming fires, while photoelectric smoke detectors are more sensitive to smoldering fires. It is recommended that you install both types of smoke detectors in your home to provide the best protection against fire. In addition to installing smoke detectors, you should also have a fire escape plan for your home. This plan should include 2 ways out of each room and a designated meeting place outside of the house. You should practice your fire escape plan with your family at least twice a year. By taking these precautions, you can help to protect your family from the dangers of fire. The International Residential Code also addresses the placement and power source of smoke alarms. The IRC mandates smoke alarms be installed in specific locations within a dwelling. These locations typically include inside each bedroom, outside each sleeping area in the immediate vicinity of the bedrooms, and on every level of the dwelling, including basements. This ensures that occupants are alerted to a fire regardless of where they are in the house. The IRC permits smoke alarms to be powered by either batteries or the home's electrical system. Battery-powered smoke alarms offer the advantage of functioning even during power outages. However, their batteries need regular testing and replacement to ensure continuous operation. Electrically powered smoke alarms, on the other hand, are connected to the home's wiring. They often have a battery backup to maintain functionality during power outages. The IRC emphasizes the importance of proper installation and maintenance of smoke alarms. It provides guidelines for the correct placement of smoke alarms to avoid nuisance alarms caused by cooking smoke or steam. It also emphasizes the need for regular testing and battery replacement to ensure the alarms are always in working order. Local amendments to the IRC can vary based on the specific needs and priorities of the community. For instance, a local jurisdiction might impose stricter requirements for interconnected smoke alarms in new construction. This could be driven by a desire to enhance fire safety in the community. Conversely, a local jurisdiction may relax certain requirements if they are deemed overly burdensome or unnecessary for the local context. For example, they might allow battery-powered smoke alarms in existing homes without requiring them to be interconnected. It's crucial to consult with the local building department to understand the specific smoke alarm requirements in your area. These requirements might differ from the IRC due to local amendments or interpretations. Understanding and adhering to these local regulations is essential for ensuring compliance and maintaining fire safety in your home. Building codes evolve over time to incorporate new technologies, address emerging safety concerns, and reflect changes in construction practices. The ICC regularly updates the IRC to keep it current with the latest advancements in building science and fire safety. Local jurisdictions then have the option to adopt these updated codes, often with local amendment. The process of adopting and amending building codes typically involves public hearings and input from various stakeholders, including builders, contractors, fire officials, and homeowners. This ensures that the codes reflect the needs and priorities of the local community. The existence of local amendments to building codes highlights the importance of staying informed about the regulations in your specific area. Relying solely on the IRC or other model codes may not be sufficient, as local requirements can differ significantly. Consulting with the local building department is the best way to obtain accurate and up-to-date information about the building codes in your jurisdiction. The adoption and enforcement of building codes play a vital role in ensuring the safety and welfare of the public. By setting minimum standards for construction and fire safety, these codes help to prevent building failures, reduce the risk of fire, and protect occupants from harm. While the IRC provides a valuable framework for building codes, local jurisdictions have the flexibility to tailor these codes to their specific needs and circumstances. This allows them to address local challenges and priorities while maintaining a high level of safety and quality in the built environment. Building codes are not static documents. They are constantly evolving to reflect new knowledge, technologies, and societal priorities. This continuous improvement process helps to ensure that buildings are safe, durable, and sustainable. The IRC addresses various aspects of residential construction, including structural design, fire safety, plumbing, electrical systems, and energy conservation. Each of these areas is subject to specific requirements aimed at protecting the health, safety, and welfare of building occupants. For example, the IRC includes detailed provisions for structural design to ensure that buildings can withstand anticipated loads, such as wind, snow, and earthquakes. It also includes requirements for fire-resistant construction to prevent the spread of fire and provide occupants with adequate time to escape. The IRC also addresses plumbing systems to ensure that they are properly installed and maintained to prevent water contamination and sewage backups. It includes requirements for electrical systems to prevent electrical shocks and fires. Furthermore, the IRC includes provisions for energy conservation to reduce energy consumption and lower utility bills. These provisions cover various aspects of building design and construction, such as insulation, windows, and HVAC systems. Local jurisdictions may adopt amendments to these provisions to reflect local climate conditions and energy costs. The IRC is a complex and comprehensive document, and it is essential for builders, contractors, and homeowners to understand its requirements. Consulting with qualified professionals such as architects, engineers, and building inspectors can help ensure compliance with the code and avoid costly mistakes. The IRC is not just a set of rules and regulations. It is a tool for creating safe, durable, and sustainable homes. By understanding and adhering to its provisions, we can help to ensure that our homes provide a healthy and comfortable environment for ourselves and our families. The process of developing and updating the IRC involves extensive collaboration and input from various stakeholders, including building officials, contractors, manufacturers, and consumer groups. This ensures that the code reflects the needs and priorities of all segments of the building industry. The ICC uses a consensus-based process to develop the IRC, which means that all proposed changes to the code must be approved by a majority of the members of the ICC. This helps to ensure that the code is technically sound and reflects the best practices in the building industry. The ICC also provides training and education programs for building officials and contractors to help them understand and comply with the IRC. These programs cover a wide range of topics, including structural design, fire safety, plumbing, electrical systems, and energy conservation. The IRC is a valuable resource for anyone involved in residential construction. By understanding its requirements and utilizing its resources, we can help to create safer, more durable, and more sustainable homes for ourselves and our communities. In the context of building codes, the principle of home rule allows local jurisdictions a degree of autonomy in adopting and enforcing regulations. This means that a city or county can tailor its building codes to address specific local needs and conditions, even if those codes differ from the model codes like the IRC. The rationale behind home rule is that local officials are best positioned to understand the unique challenges and priorities of their communities. They can consider factors such as climate, geography, population density, and economic conditions when developing building codes. Home rule allows local jurisdictions to experiment with innovative approaches to building regulation. They can adopt performance-based codes, offer incentives for green building, or streamline the permitting process. It also fosters local accountability, as local officials are directly responsible to the voters for the effectiveness of their building codes. However, home rule also has some potential drawbacks. It can lead to a patchwork of different building codes across a state or region, which can create confusion and increase costs for builders and developers. It can also create opportunities for special interests to influence the code-making process. To mitigate these drawbacks, many states have established minimum standards for building codes that all local jurisdictions must meet. These standards provide a baseline level of safety and quality while still allowing local jurisdictions some flexibility to tailor their codes to their specific needs. States may also provide technical assistance and training to local officials to help them develop and enforce effective building codes. The balance between home rule and state oversight is a key issue in building code policy. Finding the right balance can help to ensure that building codes are both effective and responsive to local needs. The interplay between national model codes like the IRC and local amendments highlights the dynamic nature of building regulation. It's a process of continuous adaptation and refinement as communities strive to balance safety, affordability, and sustainability in the built environment. The specific requirements for smoke alarm interconnection can vary based on several factors, including the age of the building, the type of occupancy, and the local building codes. In new construction, the IRC typically requires interconnected smoke alarms throughout the dwelling. This means that when one smoke alarm sounds, all of the smoke alarms in the house will sound, providing early warning to all occupants. However, in existing buildings, the requirements may be less stringent. Some local jurisdictions may not require interconnected smoke alarms in existing buildings, especially if it would be difficult or costly to install the necessary wiring. The requirements for smoke alarm interconnection may also vary depending on the type of occupancy. For example, apartment buildings and other multi-family dwellings may have different requirements than single-family homes. Some jurisdictions may require interconnected smoke alarms in all apartment units, while others may only require them in common areas. It's also important to consider the local building codes when determining the requirements for smoke alarm interconnection. Local building codes may be more stringent than the IRC, and they may have specific requirements for smoke alarm interconnection that are not included in the IRC. To ensure compliance with all applicable requirements, it's essential to consult with the local building department or a qualified fire safety professional. They can provide guidance on the specific requirements for smoke alarm interconnection in your area. In addition to the interconnection requirements, there are also specific requirements for the location and power source of smoke alarms. Smoke alarms should be installed on every level of the dwelling, including the basement, and outside of each sleeping area. They should be powered by either batteries or the home's electrical system, and they should be tested regularly to ensure that they are working properly. By following these guidelines, you can help to protect your family from the dangers of fire. Smoke alarms are a critical safety device, and it's essential to ensure that they are properly installed and maintained. The purpose of smoke alarm interconnection is to provide early warning to all occupants of a building in the event of a fire. When smoke alarms are interconnected, they communicate with each other wirelessly or through hard wiring. When one smoke alarm detects smoke, it sends a signal to all of the other smoke alarms in the building, causing them to sound an alarm simultaneously. This provides occupants with more time to escape the building safely. Interconnected smoke alarms are particularly important in larger homes or homes with multiple stories. In these types of homes, a fire may start in one area of the house without being immediately detected by occupants in other areas. Interconnected smoke alarms can help to ensure that all occupants are alerted to the fire, regardless of their location in the house. There are two main types of smoke alarm interconnection: wireless and hardwired. Wireless smoke alarms communicate with each other using radio waves. They are relatively easy to install, as they do not require any wiring. However, wireless smoke alarms may be more susceptible to interference from other electronic devices. Hardwired smoke alarms are connected to each other through the home's electrical wiring. They are more reliable than wireless smoke alarms, but they require more effort to install. The choice between wireless and hardwired smoke alarms depends on your individual needs and preferences. If you are looking for an easy-to-install option, wireless smoke alarms may be a good choice. However, if you are looking for a more reliable option, hardwired smoke alarms may be a better choice. Regardless of the type of smoke alarms you choose, it's essential to ensure that they are properly installed and maintained. Smoke alarms should be tested regularly, and the batteries should be replaced at least once a year. By taking these precautions, you can help to protect your family from the dangers of fire.